This morning, we're going to be looking at creating improvisations. Now, let's go, before I start the lesson, we're going to be looking at a clip. Now, this clip will tell you how to really get into it. Before the clip starts, let me explain something to you. We're going to be warming up. Now, we're going to be having two persons backs to back. So if you're at home with a friend or your mother or your sister, I'm going to ask you to pair with them. Here's what we're going to do. Person A, you can decide who is A and who is B. So person A will be telling their life story. Maybe it's about what you had for breakfast, how you slept last night, what you did a few weeks ago, or maybe where you were born. You're going to be telling this person about yourself. Person B, your task is to listen carefully to what person A is saying, and then you're going to be retelling what person A said. And then we're going to do it alternately. But we're going to be watching a clip for you to get an understanding.
Morning, I had breakfast. Now my breakfast was sausage, eggs, and bread. After that, I had a glass of milk. I like it kind of chill. I had a class. After the class, I had some water, very, very cold water. After the water, I went back to class, and then for lunch, I had some fried chicken with white rice, with a little vegetable on the side. But really and truly, I kind of preferred having stew peas, but I had no stew peas, so I had to have the fried chicken with the rice. I wanted a slice of cake, but I didn't have a slice of cake. However, I had ice cream in the freezer, so I had some ice cream as well. So that was my day for lunch. This morning, I had breakfast. I had sausage and egg with a slice of bread on the side. I also had a glass of milk. She then went to class and took a break. She had a glass of water during the break, then went back to class. Then she took lunch. I had a fried chicken and white rice. She wanted stew peas, but there was none. I also had ice cream. She wanted cake, but there was.
Right. So you can try that at home for your warm-up activity for the creating improvisation. Now let's pay attention to what our specific objectives are for today. I want you to have an understanding of what an improvisation is. Also, I want you to learn how important improvisation is to the actor or to the performer. You should be able to demonstrate the difference between planned and unplanned, or as we call it, spontaneous improvisation. Create improvisations based on a given stimulus. Now, what is improvisation, one may ask? Improvisation is the creation and or invention of content spontaneously or on feet. So, let me ask my students, is improvisation any at all important? Is it really? Girl at the back? Yes, it is important. Here's why. Now, improvisation is a wonderful way of sharpening your acting skills. Being completely in the moment and open to what is happening improves listening and responding on stage. It builds rapport, sharpens the wits, and improves confidence as a performer. Let's talk back a little about our warm-up activity. Now, in the warm-up, the persons had to be listening in order to retell the story. The very same thing. So sometimes you're on stage with the person you're acting. You need to be able to listen to what this individual is saying in order for you to give a positive or an appropriate response to what is going on. Because remember, we're not using a script. We're just going with the flow, as they would call it. Now, it also stretches the imagination, sparks spontaneity, and can lead to unforgettable performances. Some of the best performances I've seen are persons just improvising. No script, just going with the flow. Why do actors improvise? No, that's a very, very good question. Remember, actors are human beings, and they sometimes forget their lines. There are times we're on stage and we may forget a line. We may also forget the cue, as in, when are we to come in? Sometimes we may not hear the cue and we have to come in at a certain time. So actors may have to find a way to improvise because we forget the line or even the cue. What is drama improvisation? I hope you have your notebook ready now. I hope you're taking these notes. Now, this is the use of a given stimuli or stimulus to create or invent content on feet or at the spur of the moment. So you notice I highlighted the word stimuli, stimulus. We're going to get into the midst of what really a stimuli or a stimulus is. It is very important in creating it. Now, types of drama improvisations. We have the planned, and we also have the unplanned. The unplanned is the spontaneous, what we do on foot. Now, remember, these two improvisations, we don't have script. They're not scripted. Now, if you find that after doing them and they're so well done, you want to keep them scripted, you can go ahead. But initially, we don't have a script. We don't use a script. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you also a clip that we made on something that is unplanned. After that clip, I'm going to be telling you the definitions of planned and unplanned improvisation.
What are you doing? I'm killing flies.
So let's discuss a little bit of what is planned on and unplanned improvisation. Now, early on the clip, one person was sitting down crying, the other person comes up and say, "What are you doing?" The person says, "I'm crying." And so she starts crying as well. Secondly, the other person starts killing fly. The other person joins in and starts killing flies too. So that's an unplanned improvisation. It's not something that they were planning on doing. So let's look at the definitions for both planned and unplanned improvisation. Let's get a look here. Now, the planned improvisation involves the receiving of a given stimuli and then a brief rehearsal or preparation of the same. Again, we're going to be talking about stimuli in a bit. The unplanned improvisation is responding to any given stimuli in the moment without rehearsal or previous preparation and creating a drama for this response. Preparing for CSEC Theatre Arts? Guess what? You don't need to panic. All right? Because we're going to tell you how to prepare. You know, it's very, very simple. There are two things to pay attention to when you receive your improvisation questions. Now, we talked earlier about the stimuli. We're going to talk more about it. Now, one thing you need to do is to pay attention to when you receive your improvisation questions. The second one is this a line that needs to be heard, or is it a situation that needs to be treated? So think about those things before you go ahead and start preparing. So when you get the questions and you stand there with your group members, I want you to think about, how are we gonna do this? Is this a line? Is this something that we need to be just acting, but make sure that the dramatic improvisation is shown based on the situation? Now let's look at what's a stimuli or a stimulus. A stimulus is what you base your drama around. So it's anything that you get that you base your actions around. So we're going to now look at the types of stimuli. The first one is a line. A line that must be heard and can be identified by inverted commas. We know from language class that inverted commas mean that somebody is saying something. It indicates direct speech. Now, it's the same thing that goes for drama. This improvisation will show you that somebody is saying and it must be heard. No, if it's not heard, it's not that you're going to be losing all the marks. It is just that you're going to be losing some points because it has to be heard, not said alone, because sometimes we say things and people don't hear it. So it has to be heard by the assessor or the teacher marking you. So earlier I mentioned that there are two types of stimuli. So let's go back to a line. And I said to you that a line can be identified by inverted commas. And we know that from English language class that it implies direct speech, right? So it means that somebody has to say the line must be heard. And like I said earlier, it's not that you're going to be failing if you do not say the line. It's just that you're going to be losing points. So it's important that the line is heard by the assessor or by the tutor. Now, with the situation stimuli, the improvisation must be created around the given stimuli with no pressure of hearing the stimuli, but the meaning must be clearly evident in what you're presenting. So for example, if you're getting a stimuli or a stimulus to do, and your stimulus says, Becca, come and cause for eruption, and you're doing something totally different from what the improvisation, the stimulus would imply, it's not going to be good for you because you're going to be losing points. So you have to ensure that whatever you're doing, we see the situation, the stimulus coming out clearly in the improvisation, because that's how we're going to be marking you. Yes. Now, let me give you examples of stimuli. Line. Here's one. We are all on one accord until. We were all on one accord until. So we see the clear inverted commas, which mean that somebody has to say the line. Now, the line must be said whether it is at the beginning, at the middle, or the ending of the presentation, but it has to be heard. The situation, Becca come and cause pure eruption, one of my favorites of all times. What is this significant about the two stimuli? Now, what are your thoughts? What comes to your mind? When you get the paper and you go in your group, I want you to think about a few things with your your partners. So in your group, we normally have 3 to 5 persons standing together. And you're going to be talking among yourselves. And you're going to think about, you're going to say to each other, what comes to your thoughts? What are the ideas do you get that you should surround your improvisation with? Who are the characters that are needed in this story to unfold? Let's look a little at Becca. So what is Becca? We definitely need a Becca. Where should the story take place? We talk about, when we say where, we talk about the setting and we talk about even the time. What struggle or conflict faces the characters? We know that conflict helps the drama to propel. It helps the drama to move along. So you must ensure that the conflict is there. What will make the conflict heighten? The tension. How will it be resolved? You cannot leave your drama unresolved. Your improvisation must be resolved. And I want you to take these down. I want you to take notes of these because these are very important. I'm going to go it over again. What are some of the thoughts or ideas that come to your mind? Who are the characters that are needed for the story to unfold, for the story to go on? Where should the story take place? And we talk about the time, we talk about the place, we talk about the setting overall. What struggle or conflict faces the characters? What will make the conflict heightened? How will it be resolved? How will it end? We can't leave it and we don't end it. Now we want you to think about a few things. On the board here, I have the word objective. I hope you can see it clearly. The word objective. Now, in order for the character to play or to get what he or she wants, there is the word objective that comes to mind. We have to ensure that the objective for the character is very, very clear. What does the character want? So if you're going to play the character any at all, in order for you to get the improvisation going well and flowing, always have it in the back of your minds. What is it as a character? What do I want? What is my aim? How am I going to get what I want? Now, we learned this in literature class that there is the protagonist, the protag and the antag. So we know that the protagonist is the person that we call the star of the movie, the star of the show. And the antagonist is the person who says, you know what? Me bad mind him. Me gonna stop him from reaching goal. And that's the person who helps the drama to heighten, as we said earlier. It kind of creates tension. So sometimes the antagonist is not always very bad because without the antagonist, the protagonist won't get. Come back to it again. The objective. So always be mindful of what your objectives are or is when you are doing a drama improvisation, no matter how simple it is. So we're going to talk a little about Becca come and cause pure eruption. We're going to break it down a little tad. Yes. So look at my little man there. He is right there standing, watching. So talk about the character. The character is very, 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 very important. So we already talked about the objective and the protagonist and the antagonist. So we're going to look a little on the character. The character in this story. And we're talking about the character, we're talking about what the character look like. What is the character's morals and so on. We talk about the overall, the psychological thing of the character. What is the character's state of mind? Where's the character going? So we're going to talk a little about, in the situation, we're breaking down Becca. who is this? So, though there is Becca, common cause pure eruption, it doesn't mean that Becca is the only person in the play. We have other characters that we need to be mindful of. So, in your groups, it should be 3 to 5 of you in your groups. And so, let's say one of your characters in the group is Joe. Who is this? Mr. Joe. Where is Mr. Joe? Remember we talked earlier and I said to you that the where indicates the setting. It indicates the time. It indicates where all of the atmosphere as well. It can be whether the day is bleak or sun, whatever. So where is he or she? So Mr. Joe is in his field. How is Mr. Joe feeling? Or what is he doing? What is he doing? He is reaping his tomatoes. How is he feeling? He's very angry. Cross. Now, why is he very angry? Now, we're going back to Becca, and we must remember that we said Becca come and cause pure eruption. Becca could be the community thief. So who is making him feel this way? The community thief, which could be Becca. What will he do? What will he or she do? Which is Mr. Joe. What will Mr. Joe do about how he's feeling about his community, the community thief? He might want to set up a community watch to get rid of Becca, to catch Becca in the whole act. So how will it change? The community watch. We always have to remember that our characters need to be given tasks. And we're going to look a little at creating the character to make sure that the character stands firm. I'm just going to go a little bit into analyzing the character in this moment, just a little bit about analyzing the character. And we talk about the P for the character, we talk about the character's physical, right? The character's physical. How the character looks, the character's appearance. We talk about the I. Is the character intelligent? Is the character smart? We talk about the moral. We're going to talk about Becca in a bit. So we talk about the M, we talk about the moral of the character. The character's standards. What the character wants in life. What does he or she believe in? The character's belief. The P is the psychological aspect of the character, how the character thinks. And the S is the social of the character. Where does the character rank in society? So we're using the acronym PIMS to talk about our character, Becca. So, boy, Becca, come and cause pure eruption. Let us kind of describe Becca using the acronym PIMS. We want to say maybe Becca is tall. Let me just write Becca right there. Becca is tall. Or she's short. It depends on what you want to say she is. Remember, it's your character. You are the one that's creating the character. Is Becca an intelligent girl? Is she very smart? Well, I think she's smart, because she's causing eruption, so she has to be able to think in order to create these problems. So I would say Becca is a smart person. What is Becca's moral and standard? What does Becca believe in? I think Becca believes in creative mischief. So we're going to write, say Becca is a troublemaker. Her moral is to create confusion. Right? And that is her objective as well, to create confusion. Her psychological aspect. We want to know if Becca is crazy, if Becca is stable-headed, is Becca unhinged? I think she is slightly unhinged. So I'm going to say she's unhinged. Where would we rank Becca in society? Would we say, because the social would mean whether she's upper class, middle class, or lower class. So we'll decide if we want to say Becca is either upper class, lower class, middle class. I'm going to put Becca in the middle class of society. Now, Becca, so we talk about Becca being tall or short. We say she is smart. Her own moral and standard belief is to create confusion. That's what Becca is about. And Becca is going to be playing her character. As we go back to objectives, Becca's objective is to create mayhem, to create confusion. She is unhinged. She is from the middle class of society. That's where she is from. Now, here we are. So we just want to take these notes down on how to create a character. So this is creating or analyzing a character. So let me just write that. Or analyzing a character. So this is how we analyze the character, using the acronym PIMPS. And all of this is important, as messy as it may look. All of it is important in creating improvisation because you need to know your character, what the character wants, what your character is going to do to get what he or she wants. So make sure you have these notes written down, boys and girls. I want you to look at this stimuli. The first one says, look back. Looking back to look forward is the only way to grow. The second one says, bush of ears, wall of eye, careful how you live, Miss Matty. Now, looking back to look forward is the only way to grow. Now, what kind of stimuli is this? Yes, young lady? What did you say? Speak up, man, I can't hear you. Very good, you're a bright girl. It is a situation. And we said that the situation, the drama that you're creating, we must see the situation coming out of it. All right? Now, the second one is bush of ears and wall of eye. And we see the what? The inverted commas. What does the inverted comma mean again? Shelly-Ann, what did you say? Very good, darling. Somebody has to say it. It must be heard. Again, whether it's at, yes, so it can be said at the beginning, the middle, or at the end. Very good, my darling. So, it must be said at the beginning, the middle, or at the end. Now, I want you to ensure that you use these same techniques that I gave you earlier. The same one. And I want you to always think about the objective of your character when you're doing your improvisations, because that is important. And yes, think about who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist, because these persons help your drama to go forward. I want you to try it with your family, try it with your friends while you're at home. Make sure that you record it and share it with your drama teacher or on whatever platform you want to use, your school's platform. So guys, we looked earlier at creative improvisation. We talked a little about the character and the character's objective. And we talked a little about how we analyze the character. And we use the acronym PIMS to analyze the character Becca, right? We place her into a situation and we analyze the character. So I want you to just use those things that I gave you earlier and create your dramatic improvisations.